So, welcome back, and second session of the week as part of Be Intentional on the Winter Wellbeing Plan. So, we're going to talk about awareness and being aware, Jack Green, and the importance of self-awareness on the wellbeing agenda. And for me, I think we don't often have a deep awareness of our well-being until an event forces us to sort of self-reflect and get into it. And I'm really keen, Jack, to understand from you, when did you first start becoming more aware of your kind of well-being and your mental well-being particularly?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with depression, bipolar tendencies, and anxiety at the age of 20 after I'd just finished fourth at the Olympics and felt like a failure because I hadn't achieved what I wanted to, even though it was a fantastic achievement. And I broke down, became suicidal at that point, and started working with a psychiatrist who gave me the gift of awareness. He just made me pose some questions to myself, ask myself some things, because before I worked with him and thought about mental health, I didn't believe it existed because I was male, because I was a sports person and was deemed to be successful. I was like, well, no, mental health doesn't exist in my world. How could it? Then it happened to me, and I was very lucky as well to have someone that took me through that journey and explained it for me. And something I learned was not only my triggers and the things that might affect me or have a negative effect on me, but also the fact that life is about consistency. My performance was actually about being consistent. It wasn't about being a superstar every day. It was just consistently ticking along somewhere in the middle that allowed me to move on, move forward, and getting some awareness of consistently my behaviors and my actions and why I was doing those was so important to me.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think that we can often go through life and we sort of wake up and we sort of know how we feel physically. We kind of do a sort of body check, don't we? And think, okay, I'm feeling quite energetic today, or I need a coffee, or I'm feeling a bit ill. But with our mental well-being, we don't tend to do that again, unless we've been through a particular challenge. And I was the same. Whilst I look back through my 20s and see really erratic behavior at a times where sometimes I couldn't deal with people and I'd be locked away on my own in a room with depression. At other points, I'd be the life and soul of the party, taking my clothes off in public because I was experiencing hypomania and everything in between. But it was only really when I started to seek help and become, again, accepting the fact that I have a mental health challenge, that I started really understanding that actually, sleep is really important, exercise is really important, social connections are really important, helping others and finding a sense of purpose are all drivers of the well-being, which we'll go into in a lot more detail later. But it was that adversity that gave me the literacy about my own well-being. And along the way, a therapist gave me a tool, and a very simple tool, just to give myself a score out of 10 every day to really track my well-being and notice my mood and look for trends and changes. So today, as you can see, I'm an 8 out of 10, and this is the form score that we're going to introduce a little bit. But it's a way of giving ourselves the gift each day of that self-awareness. So I'm just going to share a screen to take you through a very, very small presentation. Don't worry, this is not going to be a slide heavy course, but it's important to give you a few tools to reflect on. So we're going to ask that question: how are you today? My form today is very good, 8 out of 10. But these are the questions that I would invite you to consider. So how motivated do you feel? Right now, I'm feeling pretty motivated, Jack, and really good to be here presenting on this course. I've got pretty good energy levels right now at the time of recording. Tasks and decisions feel pretty straightforward for me. Sleep, really big one for me. I slept well, but not long enough, and that's probably stopping me being a 9 out of 10 because everything else feels in good balance for me. Exercising, I've exercised regularly over the last 10 days. I'm on a bit of a comeback after the challenges of long COVID that's impacted my ability to exercise, but I'm on good form because I've been back on my bike. My diet has been balanced and nutritious. And I always have a strong sense of purpose, as I'm sure you do, Jack, in terms of what we do professionally now. I'm actually feeling really connected to friends, to family, and people that I work with, even though we need to be physically distant right now to be safe. And I'm balancing stress with moments of recovery in my day pretty well. I'm pleased to report, Jack, that I've scheduled a nap in this afternoon after we're recording. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And I'm fortunate enough that I'm not too worried about my finances right now, although I know that will be a stressor for many out there. I'm very cognizant of that. So what I'd invite you to do is just reflect on those questions and how they apply to you. And just think then, where might you be on this scale? And this is the form score scale. So for me, 8 out of 10, very good form. I've been as low as a 3 in recent months and weeks. And we're oscillating a lot more up and down this scale, I think, at the moment, because of everything that is going on. So where might you be? And if it's a 4 or a 5 out of 10, that's fine. That's a product of being human right now, and certainly a product of being human in a pandemic. But if you're a 3, 2, or a 1, then I'd invite you to think, well, that's a sign that we need to seek help. And if we're a 2 or a 1, seek help immediately. So that's from a medical professional, a doctor. If you are in the workplace with some resources like an EAP scheme, employee assistance program, then use that. But just think, where are you on that scale? And again, if you're at the top end, a 9 or an 8 or even a 10, think, what is driving that and how can I maintain it? So what we're going to do, and this is quite interesting for an online course, we're going to try and answer that question with an interactive poll. So at the time of recording, we're going to start with 0 entries, and then we're going to see where this poll goes, and we'll give you one each week to fill in, just to track where you're heading. So sharing this screen. So the way this works, and it's totally anonymous, and it'll build up over time as more and more people do it. We scan that QR code. So open up the camera on your phone, and Jack, I'm sure you'll do this as well now. And so when you open that up, you'll see open form poll now. And that's a knock at my door, bit of a delivery going on. So just a note on that, guys, we're not going to do multiple takes on this. What you see is what you get from Jack and I, and it'll be kind of, us doing this in real time. We're not going to do a load of editing. So see, Jack's put his 8 out of 10. I'm going to put my 8 out of 10. So we've got 2 scores. We're off and running. And as we go through this course, we'll see more and more people put the polls in each week, and we'll get a temperature test of how people are traveling, and we'll report back on that as well. So Jack, thanks for doing that. Good to see you on very good form yourself. What's driving you up to an 8 at the moment?
I think it's the purpose of this course predominantly, and enjoying the fact that we're going to be able to help a lot of people. For me, I'm consistently, and you see my scores most days, you and I, we check each other's scores and via the app, and I very rarely come off a 6. I'm a 6 and a 7. I don't tend to go much lower. I think I had 1 5 in recent times where you messaged me about it, because for me, a 5's quite low, because I tend to be quite consistent. But I've only learned that through the fact that every day I put in a 6.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll put in a 7. So to have an 8, I've had a few now, but to have an 8 is exciting for me. And I probably won't go to 9s and 10s, because I tend to really bounce around that middle.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why. It's just how I am. But I now have that awareness through this tool.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that's what we're trying to drive here. And it looks like there's a spaceship trying to come in through my virtual background, so apologies for that. That's what we're trying to drive, is that knowledge, that self-awareness of how we're tracking. And some of us will bounce around much more vigorously right now. Others, might be a steady 6. And that's okay, but building up that knowledge, then when things change, we can then think, why is that? So it's a really good exercise to do. There is the Form Score app if you want to go and look for it, but just giving yourself the gift of that moment of self-reflection each day, and thinking about those drivers in terms of the questions, which of them apply to you. So I know for me, kind of sleep and exercise, they're 2 top ones. If I'm getting those right, then a lot of the others will flow from there. But for somebody else, it might be needing to find that sense of purpose, or balancing stress a bit better, or deal with a difficult financial situation. We're all very, very individual where our well-being is concerned, aren't we, Jack?
Oh, 100%. And mine would be, to be honest, exercise isn't high up on my list because I used to do it as a job. So I quite enjoy at the moment not having to worry about it because it was very different for me. And sleep tends to happen quite easily for me. So for me, it's social, it's being social, because that's something that almost lacked in the last 10 years, being a professional athlete and not being able to be social. So being social, and then for me, it's that purpose. Because understanding what are you doing today? Why are you doing this? And is there a reason for it? Those are the two things that really impact me.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for sharing that. And for everybody else, it's part of this journey is building up that reflection, that awareness of which of those drivers, which of those questions really apply to you, and then that allows you then to focus on them and think about tweaking them micro steps forward. And again, that will form part of the inspirational bit that we bring to you. So great to do that. There's the form score. I will share a poster that you can download as well, so you've got the questions and the scale. I think next up you'll see from us will be a workout from Jack, so that's definitely going to be good to boost our form. So right now, thanks for listening, guys, and stay well.